No, General George Patton. You know, I saw that movie years ago, and a little while ago we were at a rally, and it was a great rally, and I said, you know, could you guys ever find that opening to George Patton? Right? That was what a great thing that was. And George C. Scott. George C. Scott. I don't know. Did he win the Academy Award? Did the movie? I think so. Something like that. They did pretty well, right? But but that was him. In fact, they actually said that wasn't nearly as tough as the real Patton. That was a softer version of the real Patton. But we need that. You know, we did great. We knocked out 100% of the ISIS caliphate. We had great generals. We had a general named Kane. I went to Iraq. I don't want to embarrass him because he's not a television general. I'll end up ruining him. He'll probably come out with a bad statement about me because he was told to. But we had a general. I flew in and I landed at night. Every window was dark because they thought it would be. This is on Air Force One. I said, isn't that terrible? The lights were all off. They pulled down the shades. The plane was entirely black. They couldn't see it. And I said, isn't that incredible? We've spent trillions of dollars in the Middle East and we can't even land Air Force One with the lights on, right? But I landed and it was an incredible experience. I got to meet a lot of great real people, real soldiers, real generals, real officers. We have great generals. And I said to them, they greeted me at the airplane, immediately whisked me inside. I'm saying, you mean with all the money we spent? But I met two generals that could star in any movie. They had that quality. And a sergeant who was unbelievable, could have been a movie star. I said, you know, you're a good-looking guy. You're a tough guy. Yes, sir. But I met General. I said, General Kane, what's your first name? Raisin, sir. Raisin. I said, you mean like a raisin? Yes, sir. I said, you mean your name is General Raisin Kane? I love you, General. You're what I'm looking for. I'm looking for that. And I said, so, General, they say it's going to take 2 years, General, to get rid of the ISIS caliphate in Iraq, Syria. And do you agree with that? No, sir. I said, you don't? Well, my Washington television general said 2 years, and they said we won't be able to do it in that. I disagree, sir. They said, how long will it take? Sir, we can do it in 4 weeks, maybe less, sir. I said, wait a minute, General, explain this to me. Well, sir, they would come here, and they're of a higher rank. I said, did you ever tell them what you have in mind? No, sir, that wasn't my job. I'm a general. I was at a lower rank. They tell me, sir. They didn't ask. I'm not supposed to do that, sir. I'd like to, and I wanted to, but I couldn't. I said, so you did a plan that they didn't want, right? That's what you want to do now. He said, yes, sir. It's very easy. I said, when you say 4 weeks, he said, yes, sir, 4 weeks, and you know what? We're going to have time left over, sir. I said, so what's different? They say 2 years and you won't do it. You say 4 weeks and you're going to have time left over. What's the difference? Sir, we'll hit them from 5 different locations. We'll hit them from the left. We'll hit them from the right. We'll hit them down the middle. We'll be launching from Syria, from Iraq, and from all over. Sir, they only wanted us to fly from this big Air Force base that we have right here, from our big base, and we're very far away. And it's one location. Sir, we have many locations, and we'll hit them from every damn one of those locations. And you know what? I said, well, let me give that a little thought, General. I went back and I listened to the other ones, and I said, they're not good. One of them, Milley, actually told me that when we leave, I know where this came from. He went to Biden. I know exactly where this came from. Because he told me the same thing. Milley, a real genius. He went, you know, I put the Patton thing up, compare that to Milley, but he said to me the same thing as they did. Sir, it's cheaper to leave the equipment than it is to take it. I said, no, wait a minute, and especially being in the construction business, right? I said, so you mean we have a $50 million plane, all it needs is a tank of gas and a pilot. We could have flown over 200 pilots, taken everything out, but we didn't have to worry because the Taliban listened to me. We didn't have one soldier killed. Think of it, in 18 months. I spoke to Abdul. Abdul is the man running the Taliban right now. They left us alone. And it would have been fine, but what happened is we took all our soldiers out. And I told this one time before to a great group of people, very much like you, from a slightly different state. Remember Biden when he said, "It's great to be in Idaho." They said, "Sir, you're in Iowa." Do you remember that? "It's wonderful to be in New Hampshire." "Sir, you're in Florida." So we should have known. But I know exactly what happened. Milley went up to him, just like he did to me, but it was unacceptable. With me, I said, I want every nut, I want every bolt, I want every screw, I want every plane and tank, I want the Apaches, I want everything else. And I even want the hangars, you know, those beautiful canvas hangars that hold these big monster planes. They're massive. I said, I want the hangars, I want the canvas, I want the plastic, I want the fiberglass, and I want the steel. I want everything out. And then we're going to bomb the hell out of the 5 or so bases that we don't want. And with Bagram, I hate to say it, but we're going to say that, you know, it's right next to China. Nice to have a base like that. It's got the longest runway there is. The concrete pad is so thick I couldn't be in construction. I figured maybe 6 inches. How about like 6 feet? 6 feet thick. And we left it. They spent supposedly $10 billion building, and we left it in one night, and we left all the equipment. And don't believe them when they say they disabled the equipment. They didn't. You see a couple of helicopters, they didn't disable. They got killed for leaving the equipment, and so they disabled a couple of little old helicopters. That equipment is brand new right out of a box, including the night goggles, which are better than the goggles we have. They're later models. And including all of the rifles, machine guns, and guns. They're the latest model, the latest and the greatest. So our enemy of many years has all of that. And it's a shame. It's a shame. To see what's happened to our country, it's a shame. But the general was great, so he called me up. I said, General, give it to me one more time. 4 weeks, sir. I said, General, go ahead. Thank you, sir, very much. Now, he doesn't give a shit about television. He's a general. Generals aren't supposed to care about that. And remember this, just to go back for a second. So when Milley told me that, I said, what are you, a nut job? Are you stupid? That's when I realized, that was one of the many times I realized he was stupid. Such a phony story they concocted, but one of the many times. But you know what I realized? He went into Biden and said the same thing. Sir, it's cheaper to leave the equipment than it is to take it. You know, you'll have a $5 million Army tank. You'll have a $30 million helicopter, brand new. You'll have, think of this. Even if you just flew it into Pakistan, it's a very short flight, and then you took your time in taking it. We should have taken everything. Most importantly, we should have never lost 13 warriors. And you know, nobody talks about this, and we should talk about it every time, every time. We also have numerous young people who have lost a leg, lost an arm, in one case lost 2 legs and an arm, and nobody talks. We talk about the 13, and we love those 13, and they're looking down on us right now, and they're proud of us because we know what we're doing. But we had some terribly wounded people, and overall they lost approximately 250 people. That's a terrible thing. Should have never happened. Should have never happened in that location. Should have happened in Bagram, where you have a big, big wall, actually, wall. You're not allowed to say wall. They don't like walls, you know. The Democrats don't want to build a wall. It was almost completed. I had to start it 2.5 years later for one reason. I had to fight off all the lawsuits where they were suing me, and it was just about finished. They would have finished the wall, but what happened with the general, Raising Cane, is called me up, said, sir, it's done. I said, done. It's done, sir. And we defeated 100% of the ISIS caliphate in record time. Sir, we hit them so hard, they didn't know what the hell was happening, sir. We have great generals. We have great soldiers and sailors and everything. I'm so proud of it, and so proud of Space Force. Remember, they didn't like Space Force. Space Force got to be one of our most important. We totally rebuilt the military. But we did this, and that was much tougher than withdrawing from Pakistan, from Afghanistan, which we wanted to do. We wanted to do. And by the way, speaking of Pakistan, Pakistan would have helped us, but we didn't ask them for the help. We give billions and billions of dollars a year to Pakistan, and they don't do anything for us. They don't do anything. They would have helped if we did it the right way. So that's what happened, but we defeated 100% of the ISIS caliphate. Think of that. And we knocked out Soleimani, and we knocked out al-Baghdadi. They didn't know what the hell happened. And I'll tell you what, our country was respected again. This would have never happened, taking the military out first. And I told this, I said, if you look, Abdul, the American soldiers have left. And he said, I'm doing this like Schiff did to me with the phone call that he made up, right? But mine is probably totally true. And Abdul, the leader of the Taliban, good fighters, by the way, he said, you're crazy. They didn't leave. Are you crazy? Get him out of here. He's crazy. Sir, they left. No, they didn't. They left, sir. And then they sent a patrol in, called back. They said, sir, the Americans have left. He said, I don't believe it. And then they just walked into Kabul, and they walked into the remaining portions of Afghanistan. They didn't do that with me. They didn't do that with me. They respected us. Remember this, again, we had conditions. They weren't meeting them. We'd hit them hard. They would have met every one of those conditions. But remember, the first condition was you can't kill Americans and you can't kill American soldiers. Not one soldier was killed in 18 months. Not one. Think of that. And remember when Biden was making the speech about 3 weeks ago, and it was a disaster for him, and he was in the middle of a disaster, but he's protected by the press. They don't even talk about Afghanistan anymore. They don't even talk about it. But you remember when he was making this speech, he said, well, I will say that in 18 months, we've lost no soldier. And his people are screaming at him, don't stop there. Why did you bring that up? That's a good thing for Trump. I kept waiting for the but. There was no but. We lost no soldiers for 18 months because Abdul knew that we were going to hit them harder than any country has ever been hit before. Okay, it's very simple. And he understood that. He understood that. Now, it's a very sad thing that happened. I think, to me, Afghanistan is the most embarrassing event in the history of our country. I do think that. And I think that, meaning the withdrawal, we went in there, we didn't fight like we should have. We became a police force instead of the military as we know it. And they didn't fight. But you know what? They should have. They did what they did. But to leave in disgrace instead of leaving the way they should have left. When I left office, we handed Biden the most secure border in United States history, and that includes from drugs, not just people. We ended catch and release. We shut down asylum fraud. We struck historic agreements with Mexico and Central American nations to stop illegal immigration. And we built almost 500 miles of powerful border wall, which really helped us. And I want to thank the president of Mexico, a great guy. I said, you have to put your soldiers until we build the wall. You got to put your soldiers. How many do you need? 28,000. That's a long wall. That's a long border. And he did it. He gave us 28,000 soldiers. And that's why we did things that nobody else could do. Now, in all fairness, he did it for a reason. I said, if you don't do it, we're going to put a 25% tariff on all the cars that you make and sell back into the... And they said, yes, we'd love to do it. It would be our honor. But whatever it is, it worked. And we have a great relationship with him and with Mexico, and it worked out great. And then these people came and they tore down everything. Remain in Mexico, gone. All of it's gone. And people are destroying our country. We tracked down the gang members, the drug smugglers, and the dangerous criminal aliens, and we threw them in jail, or we threw them the hell out of our country. Ideally, we wanted to get them out, but some were so dangerous we put them in jail. Yet Biden has systematically reversed every border security policy that we had in place. Oh, they were so good. You know, I say, and I mean it, if Biden would have just gone to the beach, just take it easy, enjoy the surf, you'd have a great border today, because it was getting better and better and better. And you hear all the Border Patrol people, even people that work for him, they're saying we should have left it. They didn't have to do anything. It was so good. Best we've ever had.